My Google Workspace add-on, ClickUp to Sheets, has just been upgraded. And this is the very last feature I'm going to show you because I feel like the tool is mature now. If you've been following my channel, you know I've been working on this add-on that lets you bring in your ClickUp tasks to Google Sheets. And I started adding more features, such as letting you bring in your time entries or your users to Google Sheets. And it started to become interesting with two-way syncs, which lets you bring in your data from ClickUp and then edit and create tasks in bulk from Google Sheets and send it back to ClickUp. And now you could edit default fields like task names, descriptions, priorities. We've added the ability to create and edit custom fields like your dropdowns, custom texts, emails, phone numbers, etc. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how two-way sync works with custom fields. We have a spreadsheet here, and it is a bunch of talents. This is part of a people demo space that we have here. We have different people with their email address, their score, their phases, their departments, and maybe you want to set everyone to the same department or the same phase, or just change a few things, add some scores, change some emails, and do this in bulk from a spreadsheet. Another reason to have this exported could be to have this imported into another HR tool or something. And if you want to do this very quickly, you have ClickUp to Sheets serving you. I'm going to go into ClickUp to Sheets right here. And if you haven't installed it yet, it's part of the Google Workspace add-on. So you open the sidebar in Google Sheets here with the little arrow in the bottom right, and you just click plus and then search for ClickUp to Sheets. It's an add-on available in the Google Workspace Marketplace. The link is also down below in the description, by the way, if you haven't installed and tried ClickUp to Sheets yet. Because we have it installed, we have this little icon here showing us it's ready to go. I'm going to click Sync List, which brings in the list we've been talking about. And you want to make sure you know the context where your list is. So here it's in the Agencies workspace, People Demo, Hiring folder, Talents. Let's get back here. And I am going to go into the Workspace, then in the People Demo space. I was somewhere else, so that's why it's another context. I'm going to go in the folder, Hiring, and then finally into the Talents list. So talents, here we go. Next up, I'm going to enable a few features to show you how two-way sync works. I'm going to enable two-way sync, and then I am going to enable coloring fields and bring in custom fields, and I can even bring in descriptions. I'm going to click Start Sync, and what it's going to do is going to prepare the sheet for me with the right columns, the right custom fields, and every single data I need to be able to do this sync. As you can see, everything's prepared. It even freezes some columns, some rows to make it look nice. And all I have to do is wait for up to a minute until my sync is done. It's going to bring me all the data I have here, meaning every user with their name, with their description, with their email and everything. Let's get back to Google Sheets and see how's it going. It's being synced right now. Everything's being added. I have the name, description, some tags, start date, due dates, priorities. And the rows are a little bit high because I have a bunch of very long descriptions. That's what makes the rows high. But if we wanted to, we could also hide this. All right, which would make everything look a little nicer. We have a few fields here. We have the statuses, the start dates, due dates, priority. But even more interesting, we do have some custom fields here, like a phase, a score, an email address. And I want to make sure I'm able to update those from Google Sheets. What I'm going to do is for John Joe, for example, I'm going to add his email. I'm going to say john@joe.com. I'm going to set a few other fields. I'm going to set his application, his score. Maybe I'm going to give it a 5. And if you're seeing that changes are not reflected in the update info column, what you can do is enable two-way sync. It should be done by default, but this is just a verification. If I enable it, you should have toasts showing up every time you make a change, every time you make a sync. As you can see, I have a toast here telling me I have 199 updates available. It means it hasn't applied to those. I'm just going to make sure I change those. Just changing a bunch of data, adding, for example, his email, his phase, his score. We should have this data being pulled back to ClickUp. I can even change the priority of John Joe. And if I wanted to, I could also set some start and due dates on some other users. Maybe Samuel Johnson will start on the 5th of May and finish on the 24th. And finally, another change I could do is add a new task, add a new user, add a new talent in my talent pool. I'm gonna add a user. I'm gonna say it's Sarah Connor. And let's say they are in talent status and with a high priority. Next, their start date and due date can be set as well. We could even put their email, sarah@email.com. As you can see, each time I'm making a change, it's calculating how many I have left. And that's pretty handy because you want to make sure you stay in that 200 updates threshold. The thing is, ClickUp limits the API usage, and that's why we need to make sure we're not doing too many edits at once. Obviously, once you do a sync, you can do some more 200 edits. It's still pretty bulky. Let's go into review. For this one, let's put a score and let's put it into an R&D department. We've changed a bunch of fields. We can obviously change a lot more. And if we wanted to, we could also drag and drop everything. We could say everyone is at a 4, for example, and that will update everything at once in ClickUp. Not all custom fields have this drag and drop feature. You have to be careful because if it's numbers, for example, you might have your number going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a feature of Google Sheets, and don't necessarily want this to reflect. Make sure that when you drag and drop the field, it actually applies the exact same data. We have made a bunch of changes. We have even changed all the scores. I'm gonna go into settings, and what I'm gonna do is click sync tasks. And that data in my spreadsheet is gonna be brought back to ClickUp because two-way sync was enabled as we saw in the beginning. If I get back here, I can see that my sync has started at 9:10 a.m. and I can see that all those fields will be updated. You get a queue here telling you what will be updated. This will update the task details and custom fields. This will update the custom fields only, and this will create a new task. All we have to do is wait for a little bit, and what I can do while I'm at it is just duplicate this sheet and call it two-way check. That is just for us to be able to make sure that the changes we've applied here are reflected into ClickUp. And we know that we've changed a bunch of scores. We've changed the department for John Joe. We've added an email for them. We've changed custom fields for Sarah Connor and added some priority. And it's actually a brand new task, so we should have it displayed into ClickUp. Let's see how it is going into ClickUp. And if you see the sheet being cleared, it means everything's being brought to ClickUp. That's a pretty good sign. I can already see I have Sarah Connor that just popped up here. I'm opening ClickUp again. I'm gonna refresh my ClickUp account and all the updates should be reflected. So as you can see, everyone has been put at a 4 score, which is the change we made. John Joe now has an email. It has custom fields as well, like contact and finance. And Sarah Connor has been added. We've got everyone. And if we make some changes, it'll be reflected as well. What we can do this time to show you this works for views as well is go into our hiring level view and into a list. And what I'm gonna do is create a two-way sync in the list in hiring, make some changes, maybe change back the scores of these people to different scores, and also update another list, because you can also sync views in ClickUp to Sheets, and that's useful if you want your filtered data to be displayed in ClickUp. For example, I'm going to filter out on this view only statuses that are to do or talent. It's going to bring a lot less data because this filter is going to act as a filter in my spreadsheet. I have a bunch of people here. Let's not bring talent. Okay. And we have a filter. We have a little bit less tasks, less talents here, less positions, and those filters should apply. I'm going to get back to ClickUp to Sheets and then go into sync view. All I have to do is find this view in its context. So it's a folder view. Pick the hierarchy level where the view is located. I'm going to pick folder, then select a ClickUp folder. We are in agencies, and I want to go this time to people demo and into the hiring folder. I have to pick my view. They should be 1 because I only have one view at this level. That's my list. Perfect. So it tells you it's a list view. It's actually called list. If I change the name, it would display here. I can enable two-way sync, color my fields, and bring in custom fields as well. And let's click Start Sync. Again, everything that was in that view is gonna pop up here in Google Sheets, and I can do all the changes I want. I can create tasks, I can edit tasks, it'll be reflected back, and this is just to wrap things up and show you that it works both in a list and in a view sync. So while it's syncing, this is gonna bring tasks from both the positions list and the talents list. And if we get back there, it's actually going on right now. And as you can see, we have the list name displayed here, and we have those columns that have been added. Two things I forgot to mention about two-way sync is that only purple columns are editable. That is actually disclaimed when you start a sync. It tells you that you can only synchronize and bring in those columns. Why? Because some columns would be hard to edit in a spreadsheet, especially tags, assignees, because the data, how it's structured in the ClickUp API is a little bit different. Just wanted to make sure that for the user experience to be good, only fields that are easy to understand can be synced. Let's update some of those. I'm gonna change the status, for example, for all those fields from online to drafted. Let's drag and drop this. And then I'm gonna change some dates. I'm gonna set every talent date at those dates. I'm just gonna copy paste random dates here. And as you can see, talents don't have a start and due date for now. So I'm gonna get here and click start date, due date, take those values and just bring them here. And it's just gonna add a date. So this is a Google Sheet feature. I have to be careful about that, but because this is dummy data, we're fine. And then I'm gonna change this by just adding an urgent priority for all talents and maybe a normal priority for all positions. I could also change the name of people if I wanted to. So I could say this is Elizabeth Thomas Smith, and I could say this is an HR head manager. Okay. We've changed some tasks, we've added some priorities, and we want to make sure that all those syncs are made on the next sync. I'm going to refresh the status of my sync. It should be synced now. Let's go into the hiring list. I'm going to click sync tasks, and this should go back to ClickUp in the two different lists that we have. That's how ClickUp to Sheets is handy. You cannot create tasks from a view sync, but it's totally fine because you can just synchronize a list and create tasks from there. View syncs are only for you to see filtered data. And as you can see, only the positions that were in an online or drafted status and only the talents that were in a candidate status were brought in. We brought the data we needed, and that's the power of views. If you want to focus on a list, you're going to use a list sync. That's the only main difference. Let's get back to ClickUp. I'm going to add the priority field back here just to see if this is being applied. And let's hide the assignee. We don't need it for now. And we should have start dates, due dates, and priorities being applied, and those should be brought into drafted. To know if your sync is going on, you can just get back to your home page and check out your sync status. And as you can see, it's still currently syncing. And our sheet has been cleared. And let's get back to ClickUp and see what happened. As you can see, everyone has been brought to a drafted positions. When it comes to position, we have our HR head manager updated. All the priorities have changed. Everyone has now a start and due date in the talents. So all our syncs have been made. And that is the power of ClickUp to Sheets two-way sync feature. As you can see, you can bring in default fields, custom fields, and you can do that for list syncs and view syncs. We just happened not to have any custom field in here, but we totally could have updated those custom fields as well. So now ClickUp to Sheets is pretty much done with this feature. There might be some tweaks here and there, but the tool is complete and it's ready for you to synchronize your tasks, your time entries, and users into Google Sheets, no matter what your use case is. I have some clients that are using ClickUp to Sheets to export time entries for the agency so that they can drill down through the data. You can actually create pivot tables and drill downs, dashboards on those data. I have some other clients that bring it to expose that data to stakeholders. They want their stakeholders to see their project progress, for example. And some others just want to use this power feature tool to be able to create or update tasks in bulk from a spreadsheet. If you're interested about ClickUp to Sheets, all you have to do is install it. There's a link down in the description. You can also go to clickuptosheets.com. The link is down there as well. And you can discover the add-on. And once you're ready, after your 7 days completely free trial, subscribe to one of the plans we offer. There's different plans catering to your need. If you want very few syncs and you don't want all the power features like time entries, scheduled syncs, and two-way sync, you can go for the starter plan. If you want to make use of exporting your time entries and users, you have to go for the Pro plan. And finally, if you want to use the feature I've just shown you, you'll have to go for the business plan. And that's the power user feature where you can create and update tasks in bulk. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to discover, install, and try ClickUp to Sheets. And until the next video, stay productive.